Reading A Beautiful Mind, the book about John Nash, taught me one important thing, and that's what I plan to talk about today in this book review. A Beautiful Mind is a great movie starring Russell Crowe, and I rewatched that recently. I saw it way back when it came out in the theaters. I forget how long that was ago, probably 20 years or something. And it kind of tells the story about John Nash, the mathematician, and how he went to college and was misunderstood and had a very brilliant analytical mind, which led him to create mathematical discoveries, but also to become paranoid. I believe he was paranoid schizophrenic, and he started imagining that the government was after him and so on. That's what the movie says. It's based on the book, but is not entirely accurate. And reading the book recently, after watching the movie, helped me understand what parts of the movie were real and what parts were not. I think the movie got the essence of the John Nash story right, but it portrayed his schizophrenia in a way that was actually less shocking than truth. Oh, before I explain that, I should mention John Nash is a Nobel Prize-winning mathematician. If you're not familiar with him, he was a genius genuinely and came up with a breakthrough in game theory called Nash optimization. I believe that's what it's called, that won him the Nobel Prize. And of course, he created some other mathematical innovations as well. So he's important that way. In the book, it makes it clear that his paranoia was more severe than in the movie. He believed that aliens were speaking to him through publications, like through articles and magazines and things like that. And I believe it was in the book, or it could have been some commentary I was reading about it. Someone asked him, Professor Nash, how could you simultaneously be a mathematical genius that understood the world in a profoundly real way and also believe that aliens were speaking to you in newspapers? It just seemed so outlandish. And his answer was fascinating. He said, the same part of my mind that gives me my mathematical insights also was telling me that aliens were speaking to me through newspapers. That information was coming from the same source. So he was a great mathematician because he accepted his mathematical intuitions, but that same sort of intuition / overanalysis led him to believe crazy paranoid fantasies. So that was pretty interesting. I'm very interested in Myers-Briggs, the personality test, and John Nash does come out as an INTJ and has these tendencies that I see in myself and anyone with this personality type, a tendency to overanalyze. And it is true that one of the great gifts of typically an INTJ, people who think the way John Nash does, are that you're served up these insights from your subconscious mind. But I can see how someone who's a genius and having that happen might start to believe some pretty crazy ideas too. So that's what happened with John Nash. I think the book was entirely worth reading just for that. There are some other things that are simplified in the movie that are different from the book. So in the movie, it just kind of follows his relationship with his wife. But in the book, if I'm remembering correctly, he ended up divorcing his first wife and then remarried. So the movie kind of shows a wife who patiently goes through all of his problems with him and then is supportive of him when he gets the Nobel Prize and is kind of singularly important. There's a great kind of final award scene near the end of the movie. But in the book, things are a little more complicated. We're talking about two different people there. But, that's what they do in movies often, is they combine characters or simplify characters just to make them easy to follow. So I'm not very bothered by that. It's still a great movie and worth watching. But for the real truth, for the ground truth, you want to read the book. And John Nash is genuinely a very interesting character to learn about.